Hello, welcome to Laura's Painted Minis. I am Laura, and we're here today doing some basing. We're gonna get started on this guy. Um, we might have to get the. I think we'll probably be doing we're getting base started, like glue some stuff down, and then we're waiting for glue to dry, I'll work some more on the unicorn because I got inspired to do kind of a cooler base for this one because it is going to be kind of a semi-important NPC, possibly NPC creature. It's an intelligent creature. So yeah, I got a little bit of a glow effect going, and with having more basing, more elaborate basing like this, I'll even be able to do a little bit more of that OSL kind of specifically kind of coming off of like where there's hair versus the body fur, if that makes sense. Technically, it's kind of all hair as far as horses go. So yeah, so let's get started on Mr. Basilisk, and then while glue is drying, we'll move over to painting some more of the basing on the unicorn. I don't think I've actually opened this, so yeah. Last year, I think it was last year, I got lots of stuff. Just various things that I knew that when I do actually go to try and do more elaborate basing that I was going to want. So, got this. This is what it is from WW Scenics. I think it's War World Scenics. And I use their basing glue. It's very much like regular craft glue if you've already got like Elmer's glue. Very much the same as that. Very similar, at least. So yeah, and I like this because with this guy we are trying to go for kind of a desert mountainous look. So I think this is gonna work great because we got all sorts of different sizes here. It's technically like coarse sand. That's gonna, I think, will work perfectly for doing kind of a desert look. So just put down some glue. Try and stay on camera while I'll do this. You got time to kind of move the glue around before it sets. I usually get my pokey tool and kind of help move it around. You want it to get in underneath. So ideally it would have, so this is where it can be kind of a con to painting the mini first and gluing it down, and so gluing it down onto the base and painting it first before actually knowing what you're going to do for basing. So we are going to have to try and carefully get some stuff at least somewhat underneath this guy. At least as far as, what can be seen. Yeah, there's lots of time before this glue will set, so you have lots of time to just kind of get it moved around. To where you want the basing to be. And you gotta be careful of getting glue onto the mini because that means you'll probably be getting basing stuck to his mini. But you can always just quickly like I said, since this glue doesn't set quick, you can always do a double check of after you've gotten the basing on. Make sure there's not any stuck to the mini itself that you don't want on the mini. Let's see, and then always get something to kind of help catch any extra. So this is my well palette came with a lid. So let's see how I want to do this. I'll hold the mini. For now, I'm just gonna kind of grab a pinch of stuff from the mixture. It's kind of a nice mix of various sizes. So this kind of looks just to really add to kind of a nice natural look. You're kind of in a deserty, mountainous area. I think this works really well. Be a little bit difficult getting underneath with those bigger pieces, but that's okay. We can always come back with more glue if there's areas that maybe didn't get enough glue, or you want to build up the basing, make kind of a hill look. Always do that. Tapping it back into, tap it on the side. It helps with any that it's loose and not actually glued down. Yeah, it looks like we got a decent amount underneath him. We turn it to the side. Where we see underneath, there is definitely some that's sticking to his leg there. So you want to get that now before the glue's had a chance to set. Otherwise it would probably pull off paint. And then here, some of it's built up onto the feet itself. So we'll take a wet brush. And just kind of gently wipe it away so that we can see the feet again. Same here. Now you can always like purposely have feet like kind of slightly covered up, like if you want to do like a really muddy, deep mud or whatever. I don't think it makes as much sense with this since we're thinking desert. But yeah. Sorry, I was just hearing my husband get back home early. So yeah, I think we got all the feet. Oh, I didn't check back here. There's really basilisks have 4 on each side, 4 feet. Get that. Sweet. So it's a good start. I might end up maybe trying to glue some more on top. And I've got some other basing of that is rocks. I'm gonna just try and get some of these edges on this side. Definitely did not get as much glue. I've got some other basing that's just rocks of like separated into different baggies of different size rocks that I might pull out just to get some like finer gravel look. So I think that's kind of the main thing that it might need. Next, and just tap it out. I am going to go check real quick that he's not bringing the package in, because there's a package that needs to be picked up. I'm out to be picked up. And I already missed it Saturday, so I want to make sure he hasn't pulled that in. So yeah, and then you saw me doing this. So while that's another thing, when the glue and everything is still wet, you've already tapped it out, so you're not going to have rocks falling on you while you turn it on its side, and just kind of wipe your finger. I just use my finger, and it just kind of makes sure that, you know, you've got these edges are going to be clear of basing when you go to clean it up. I'll like, for instance, I specifically will paint it black just for a nice clean edge. So we'll set that aside, and I'm gonna go check real quick on my package and be right back there and look at that guy, and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Sweet. So this, it might take all of the stream for this to actually dry. Maybe even a couple hours. It's pretty humid. Been pretty humid, so we might not get back to this. But I'm kind of planning on using the similar colors we already used and just taking out that oxide brown to kind of have more of a neutral color on the palette. So yeah, so we will move on over. So I did not get other minis prepped to replace that just yet. I will work on the unicorn. This is just a piece of paper that I have, so I'm gonna just try and see if I can't funnel this back into the sand container. I've already done a little bit of painting on this. I'm gonna get to work right now painting up with all the various green stuff. I'm using some foggy green. With polymetal gold, and then I'm gonna use the NMM gold highlight to kind of basically build a highlight. And I'm just gonna use it for all of the various greeneries that are on here. I did try, I did technically do a base coat like on the green already. Some of that you can see kind of some darker green already on that, and that was with the mix of the ultramarine shadow and palomino gold. But I really kind of wanted to go more with the kind of olivey yellow green with this, I think. So I feel like that's especially building on top of kind of that bluish green that you get with the blue and the yellow. Will look kind of a bit more foresty. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay. So the lot of stuff on here is a mixture of various different things. I was looking at Vince Venturello. I'm not sure how to say his last name. Looking at kind of a video of his of building foresty bases. And I have various stuff from the War World Scenics as well as Woodland Scenics. But yeah, so I started off getting this onto the base and kind of covering up the original like cabbage base using Liquitex flexible modeling paste. Yeah, that's what it is. So that kind of created a nice like mud looking layer. And then on top of that, I got some, like I mentioned earlier, some bags of rocks that I think it's War World Scenics that those are from. Separated into the different sizings and stuff, and you can see there's big rocks on this side that I got stuck in, and then if you look, it's hard to see now that but all these little specks and stuff in here of different sized rocks and whatnot to kind of just add into that effect of like a foresty space. And then had some twigs, which I don't remember which company those were from, but I had to use my garden shears to clip off one, and then I think it was actually off of this piece too. It's already had kind of a couple natural branches coming off of it. So yeah. So this can be like kind of a felled branch maybe, or what have you. And then there was some, technically it's vines that I used, fake stuff that I used up here in the tree underneath this like bushy, fake bushy stuff. So that kind of actually, I liked how it kind of make the look of like those smaller branches almost coming off of that. Kind of see where I didn't necessarily get all the modeling paste base coated. And some of this is not like super sturdy on the tree. I probably need to get some more of it sealed in just so that it doesn't eventually just fall off super easily. And I am just kind of stippling it on. You're not gonna need to try and get like an even coat on everything. And since this is like more of like abstract kind of bush foliage, you don't need to worry about getting those veins or anything detailed. Just kind of the illusion that there's lots of different leaves, and thus there's kind of varying degrees of darkness and light within this bush of foliage, so to speak. There's even some of it that I haven't even like, definitely haven't gotten some paint. I'm pretty sure that's the natural right there, the natural color. Actually, since that is kind of technically underneath, I might get some of that darker green on it. Just on the bottom, just because it wouldn't really be, it does look a little bit weird. All right. Keep moving up with our highlights. I want this to be looking green. don't really do throw together bases like this together, but build them together very often. So really excited with kind of how it's turned out and whatnot. Like I said, I did watch a video just on for ideas of like I guess things to kind of keep in mind as you're building up and how to make it kind of look natural and stuff. I will like come back and try and seal this a bit more so that the tree especially, just because there's definitely some parts that are still kind of, you know, a little flimsy, not on there super great. So yeah, and some of that is because there's not like I didn't bother trying to build up an armature. I'd been thinking about that a bit more. I could have gone out some wire to kind of build like an actual structure that this can like actually be on. It's essentially just kind of sitting on the bottom. You can see here, up here, just on the tips of where it was already like broken off. It just kind of gives a look of like a small tree. Let's see. So that's looking pretty good. I think definitely once I get to, right now it's definitely looking very dark, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I haven't done anything to the rocks. And I will kind of do a little bit of painting of the actual tree, maybe do a little artificial bark texture. Yeah, we'll see. I do kind of like the way this already looks. If you can kind of see that a bit. So yeah. Okay. We are pretty close to time. Let's take a look at the Mr. Basilisk here. See how the glue is actually almost, looks like it's almost set. It's pretty clear, so that's a pretty good indication that it's probably mostly set up. Now this is the point where you kind of want to think, do you want to add any? I thought I would want to add some smaller rocks, but actually I think I want to add like maybe one big rock like right here. So big, like kind of like the effect of a boulder. So here's my like a tub of different sized rocks. I think these are gonna be good for what I was thinking of. And get this glued on, and then we'll probably call the stream there. I want to see a few different rocks, see if there's one that especially like the shape of for that. I kind of like this one. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that looks nice. There's actually some smaller ones too. That's too much, I think. I don't know, that seems too rounded. maybe this one. Yeah. You know, I think I'll just do just the one actually, now that I kind of look at it. I think two might be too much. So just one. Provide a little kind of asymmetry. Okay. Get out our glue and glue it on. Flood it with glue. It's not going to hurt it too much. Throw in a rock that fell out somewhere else. There. That will be basing, and so the next thing we'll need to do is to paint it. But for now, we'll call that it for today. Putting that over there. So on Thursday, we'll probably work some more on the unicorn if I'm not done with that. There is still, since I did this more of an elaborate basing, that means there's kind of a lot to do in painting just base. I do actually still have the eyes to paint that, or at least to decide if I'm going to leave the eyes like that. I haven't really decided yet. So, yep, this will probably be what we'll be doing on the Thursday, my Thursday stream, same time as today, 1:15 p.m. Central Time. If it's not this, then we'll be starting. I've got a few over here that they're all Reaper as well, actually. So we got their two rabbit folk that they have, and then I think it's Anaron Wizard. Yeah. One of those if I happen to get this done. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure it'll be this guy on Thursday. So I will see you then. Have a good couple of days. Bye.